Today is a particularly exciting day at Women's Television because I have the fabulous Miss Dosmine, and she is going to tell us about starting a business. But before I talk about that at all, I want to know if you in the audience have ever thought about starting your own business. Have you ever wondered what would be involved? Have you ever wondered, how do I get from point A to point B? And have you been totally overwhelmed with the notion? Well, I have. And so if this falls into the category of your to-do, just stay tuned, because you're going to learn every single thing, well, maybe not everything, but you're going to learn a lot of what you need to know to start your own business, how to get the right certifications, how to have a development team, how to market and distribute your products and services. And I could go on and on and on, because starting a business is not an easy thing, but it is certainly a thing worth doing. Believe me, I know. So Dosmine Palmer, I would like for you to share with us your vision for your business, because you're in the business of helping small businesses. And I would like for you to tell me a little bit about yourself, and that will help us to love you more.
Okay.
So it's all yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Nixon-Pone. I am delighted to be here. I feel honored to be invited to be a part of your show, and I certainly want to start talking about how I can help every startup company or every individual who has ever thought of starting their own business, how I can help them make this happen much faster and with less anxiety. So I started this business as a corporate paralegal. I worked in-house for Fortune 500 companies for many years, and I saw the value that I brought to them as the support that I gave to the legal team. And I thought, what if I bring these same services to a small business startup? I am sure they too can benefit from what it is that I do, and how their companies can grow and, you know, reach the same kind of market that a larger corporation would.
That is so thoughtful. That is so thoughtful. In the helping business of helping people to develop their business. Yes. That is awesome. Now tell us how long you've been, well, first let me ask you, how did you first come about the vision? When did you decide that you were going to take an action on this?
Okay, so about 10 years ago,
wow.
A friend of mine came to see my sister, who's an attorney, with their corporate kit. And the corporate kit is basically a binder that has the company seal, and it has some templates of some documents that have names, spaces that you should fill in. And he was explaining, I just formed this company and they gave me this book and I don't know what to do with it. And so my sister thought, okay, I know who can help you. So she called me and she said, give this, you know, take a look at what this gentleman has and see if you can help him. And if you can, then, you know, we will pay you to do it, basically. So I took a look and I realized right away that this was something I handled daily in the job that I was in, and I figured, why not get started doing something like this for small business, because they're always going to have a need. How do you fill out this format? What's the board resolution with the bylaws? You know, where do we go after the certificate of incorporation has been formed? So that's kind of how I got started, and it just grew into a business from there.
That is awesome. But I just, when my conversation with you, I just see that you have that entrepreneurial spirit. Maybe that's why you're so interested in helping people get their businesses started, because you seem to be an entrepreneur at heart.
I agree, and I can, you know, I don't want to date myself, but many years ago when I was in high school, I remember selling ice cream.
Wow.
I went to a boarding school, and on the weekends, I'm not sure if it was legal then, but I would sell ice cream to the kids because it was just a way for them to have a snack. And, you know, I would find a way to sell like greeting cards and that kind of thing. So I've been doing that, you're right, to make money for many years. And so even though I went straight into being an employee, I know at some point it was just a matter of amassing the necessary experience and training to take my own show on the road. So
wow, that's great. Just over your shoulder, I see a wonderful picture of you and your business name, Business Development Consultant.
Yes.
And I see that picture, I'm thinking that young lady should be on the cover of Cosmopolitan or someplace. I mean, you know, there are so many things that a person can choose to do, but you've chosen a path of helping others.
Yes.
And I think that that is awesome. Now, I first met you at the South Queens Rotary Club.
Yes.
And that was such a nice experience, and you were like helping me, and I said, oh, I don't know how to do this, and you were like, oh, I'll help you, oh, I'll do this. So in a way, that's sort of like the ministry of helpfulness.
Yes.
And that is a vital part of our community. That's a vital part of what we do and how we live as neighbors, helping each other.
Yes.
So I think that I was not surprised when I heard you say you started as a child.
Right, right.
Because there is an ancient writing that says your gifts are born in you.
And
They're already there.
Right.
And so you were able to tap into this at an early
Very
age.
early age.
Now, I wish I had some of that ice cream.
It was good ice cream.
Well, what about your personal life? It seems like this would consume all of your time, and yet and still you have the time to run a family, to raise your children, and we just got a beep that says pick up your children from school.
Right.
So it seems that, you know, I have a friend who says that women are like spaghetti and men are like waffles. The women are always reaching out and their antennas are doing various things. So how do you balance? How do you balance?
You know,
Dosmine?
a supportive network, and of course it starts with having help from my husband, and then we have in my mom's circle friends who help, you know, especially with the kids if I need to have something done and I'm not going to be there. It also involves waking up extra early sometimes just to get a little time in for yourself or going to bed really late. And you know, I miss some things. There are times when I may forget something, like I've forgotten to get the kids at 3, maybe 1 or 2 times, and then it's at 3 o'clock I'm flying through the door because a client, you know, I had an appointment or something with a client. But it's not easy, and I've found that, you know, it's when you ask for help, you get it. So if I want to help, I don't assume that my husband is going to just know he should pick the kids up. I would say, can you do it? And I tell him what time, and I give him all the information, even though we've been doing this for almost 13 years, but I still give him. And then if I have a need outside of that he cannot fulfill, then I have a friend who is always willing to, you know, chip in and do that. So it takes a team.
Great.
Yeah, it takes a team.
So how do you develop your team? When I first met you, I think I was doing a lecture on team development.
Yes.
And how do you bring your team together?
Well, first you see all those who we might have stuff in common with, and from there on, usually, and where the need exists. So, you know, we will all have a different need. I may just need to have someone picked up, but somebody may need a document dropped off somewhere, or, you know, whatever the need is. So we use the strengths of each other to do that. And it's usually based on what we have in common. Yeah.
I noticed that one of the things you list as the highest priority is startup consultation.
Yes.
So I've heard it said that an inch of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I think that's how that goes. So are you alluding to the fact that if we start up on the right track, that it will prevent us headaches along the way?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what are some of the key things that we should look out? I don't want to steal the thunder or you give out too much information, but I always want people to come back to you because we're going to be listing your information on our website. But just give me 1 or 2 things that you would tell me that would make me curious, that would whet my appetite for the services that you offer.
Okay. Well, in startup consultation, I often encounter someone who's been toying with the idea of wanting to start a business for many years or, you know, a long period of time, and they're not clear maybe on what legal entity, whether it should be an LLC or a corporation or a not-for-profit. So when they tell me and they say, you know, I want to start and I want to do this or that, and I would say, do you want to do something under the charitable line or do you want to do it for profit? So right away I start, you know, kind of separating what it is they want to do, and then it will, by the end of the conversation, we can usually decide if it's going to be a for-profit or not-for-profit. So the consultation I find is really beneficial because it gives someone, and sometimes it's not time. it gives them an idea of, we create like a roadmap of how to proceed with starting this business. Sometimes they need to get authorization from an agency before. So, if you're going to do something related to education, you may want to get the Board of Ed approval before you even incorporate, because the Department of State will reject it. So, we talk about what it is they're trying to accomplish. And then I said, okay, if you engage me to do this, then of course we will do all of this for you over a certain period of time for whatever we agree on.
And so you set out to make sure that their business succeeds.
That is the goal.
Right.
That
okay.
is the goal.
So a person, I can almost see that your services are a must.
I believe
in that if a person starts a business and they don't know what they're doing, the chances of them not being successful have dramatically increased.
Yes.
And so you're going to walk with them, you're going to hold their hand, you're going to fill out the right papers, cross the T's and dot the I's.
Yes.
So I think that that's awesome. I think that that's awesome, and I would highly recommend you and your services, and the fact that you're so well polished and so well versed in business practices, and also that you have the legal arm of information at your disposal. Now, how did you become involved in the legal aspect of business? Because many people don't think about it. Like when you were selling that ice cream, you didn't think about whether it was legal or illegal. You just wanted to get your business going.
One of my first jobs was with a corporation that actually sets up businesses. We'd file incorporation papers for clients which were law firms or individuals that wanted to do business, whether it's in the U.S. or outside of the U.S. So I also happened to work on the team that did it for international provided. So if you were in another country and you actually wanted to do business in the U.S., I would be part of the team that does that. So I learned how to do this. I was already a paralegal, and so this was one of the selling points they hired me, because I had that training. So once I started, understanding how, oh, it's not hard at all to do the paperwork, and all it takes is some details to, do the research. Then that kind of spurred me into making a career of it, and that led me to different legal departments, to where I would hone the skills later on.
Wow. So we have your website information, and it's on the screen. And we also have your phone information, and we see that you're really prepared for the task at hand.
I am.
And I can see that women and men, I can see that any person wanting to start their own business would want to employ your services, or certainly the services of a company that will provide the kind of services that you provide. And I'm excited that you have this idea, and that you're so well prepared, and that you have not only the experience, but you have the academic credits, which is important. And where do you see your business going from here? What is your vision for your business?
I envision tremendous growth. So far, we've been very well received. I think that I definitely found a niche where people need this service. And so I do a lot of work in New York right now, but I would love to see, branches of small business corporate services popping up in other states. And certainly add an international flavor to it, where we can also help those outside of the U.S. who want to do business in the U.S. get their paperwork done without having to come into the country. So yes.
Now the one thing that I did was that I Googled you, and I was impressed that you were headed toward 100,000 viewers. And I was saying, like, wow, that is like awesome. Like to get 100,000, it was like 90-something thousand views on your site, and I said, wow, that's quite impressive. Now how would a person grow their business in a way that would increase their visibility? What would be the one or two things you would recommend to them?
To grow their business.
I know exposure.
Right.
But give us something that, give us something out of your handy bag of things that you would actually tell.
Well, one of the sources that I know, is a definite source for business to tap into is to try and get contracts with government agencies or organizations
that's
that are,
great.
looking to use services that we provide, or whoever they are, whatever the service they provide. And the way I help them get that is by getting them certified as a minority-owned business, whether it's female, minority, category, whatever it is. But once you get that paperwork done and you become a part of, the database, if you will, that gets this information, you can certainly open your chances for growth.
Right,
They're
okay.
always looking for, talents, products, services, that kind of thing by minority-owned companies. So you get your paperwork in order, you become certified, and then you become a part of this pool that uses the service of people who are certified as a minority-owned enterprise.
Wow, now is that a difficult process, or you sort of do that with your eyes closed?
Well, I do the paperwork, and then the certification is up to whoever the agency is, whether it's a private agency that's doing the certification or Empire State, for example. It's moderately. It's just time consuming.
Now, the one thing that I told you before we started is that the time is going to go very fast.
Quickly, yes.
Yes, and that has certainly happened.
Oh.
But I want you to, in a few minutes, tell the audience why they should use your services and why they should come to you particularly.
Okay, first of all, this is a labor of love for me, in as much as I do charge. But I find that one of the things that people are really frustrated when they are doing this startup, and my job is to ease the anxieties associated with the paperwork that you go through as a startup. So I believe I'm easy to talk to. I definitely will do the research.
You're easy to talk to.
Yes.
I vote. You have one vote on that.
There you go. I'll do the research for you, and I'm there beside you those first 3 to 6 months, whatever we arrange the time together to be, just to make sure that you get over those initial hurdles that typically, are some of the stuff for startup companies that they do encounter.
Yeah. I've heard it said that if you don't plan, you plan to fail. What do you think about that? Do you think planning is important, or you just jump out there and start doing it?
Planning is important. It's essential. I mentioned how many years ago I've been writing, and I always tell my clients when they come in, where's your book, where are your notes? Because you must have been doing this for a while to come to the point where you want to incorporate. I believe in planning. I believe in, just itemizing what it is that you want to do, and that should become your roadmap to the company that you're trying to develop. So planning is key, and if you're somewhat confused as to how to approach this, then that's one of the reasons you would want to come to me, and we'll set out a roadmap as to how to, from stage 1 right down, to when you're up and running.
Now, we have information and we have an idea, and we want to go out and make $1 million with our business, but we don't want to stop with all that paperwork and all that dotting the I's and so you'll come in and help us do that.
Yes.
So that will relieve us from the pain and anxiety that we may feel. I think I got it now.
Yes.
And I know that if we want a business, we want a successful business.
Yes, you want
because if you're not being successful,
What's
then
the
I
point?
don't know if that's, yes,
Yeah,
what's the
what's the
point?
point?
So I'm encouraged by you, and I plan to use your services myself.
Oh, I look
We've
forward.
discussed it,
Yes.
we've talked about it, and I'm sure that you will be helpful to us. So now I'm thinking, we're at drglorianixonpone.com, and our sponsor is Pone Inspirations, which is my husband, and we have other sponsors, but I want you to know, and I would like for you to be a sponsor. And as we go forward, I would like for people to continue to know that you are part of a set of activities that are geared to success.
Yes, yes, yes.
So there's a saying, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So I can see that your services will help them to achieve.
Get on the road.
Person in business will help to achieve their defined goal.
Yes, absolutely.
And now you also help them to define their purpose, or is a purpose statement, or any additional information that they should be trying garnering before they come to you?
Well, because startups are, it's an emotional journey, especially if you're starting by yourself. So you want to make sure you're fully committed to this. There will be lows, lots of it. And I often say to others, you know, to some of my clients, just make a list of all the reasons you want to be in business. So when the difficult times come, you're reminded why it is that you want to be in business. But I say go for it. You know, if this is where your heart is leading and that's where purpose comes in, I say go for it.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. I think that you've covered much of what a person would need to get started. And I know that many businesses fail not for the lack of knowledge about what they are going to do, but how to make my business plan, how to be successful, how to market myself. Some people can market their neighbor, but they don't want to say anything. Yes. And so I see that the structure, it's sort of like two parentheses around what you're doing, and that you will bring that parenthesis of structure and overlay it on the talents and the gifts and abilities of the business owner.
Yes, that's essential.
And so now you say small business, but I can see that once you are in charge of these businesses and you are helping them, that maybe they'll move from small to medium to
they'll just
large.
be business. Yes, they'll just be called business.
They'll just be called business?
Right.
Okay, all right. That's right, because when you become a real business, you don't have to say
define
you're small.
yourself. Exactly. You know.
So I'm excited about all of this. We've covered a lot of material today, and I am so appreciative that you're here with us, because you've covered things that I never thought about. And I've started different businesses, and now that I know you, I can see that I will succeed. And like you, I came from corporate America. I was in banking. I was vice president at a financial institution, and I was there for 20 years. And when I left and I started my own company, a real estate broker, investor, it was a labor of love, because I wanted to get housing for people. You know, when I came to New York, I saw people sleeping on the street, and that was like unfathomable. People cannot sleep on the street. I will help them. I will help the whole world. Of course, I was only 20.
You know better.
I was only 22 then. So now I want to still help. So that ministry of helpfulness is still it's ingrained in me. And so when we see that in order to be successful, we don't have to do everything ourselves.
Absolutely.
You have let us know that we need a team.
Yes, you do.
You need a team, and with the help of your team, you can make sure that your business grows and goes in a way that's up as opposed to down.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about this, and we've talked a few times on the phone, and your parting words, are you having any events or workshops or lectures, or maybe we'll have to arrange that?
We certainly will. There are some things in the works, and we will post events at our website coming up. We definitely want to do some workshops, and so that will be posted on our website in the coming months.
And are you doing something in Brooklyn, or?
I'm working on a private project in Brooklyn. I'm not sure when it's going to come in stream, so at the time when it does come on, then I guess I will have the approval of the authorities to speak about it.
Well, I am really excited. I meet so many women who are doing great things, and that's our motto here at Women's Television. A few good women doing great things in family, in community, and in the world.
Yes.
And so sometimes we're the unsung heroes.
That is true.
But our task is to sing and to sing out loud.
Keep singing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do, and keep up the good work.
Well, thank you for having me, and I sure hope we will, be able to bring our services into more small businesses.
I can see that you will, and I'm sure you have a plan for your expansion and your growth.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to being a part of that, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to the expansion of services to all people. You know, sometimes we as families, we have our little family businesses, and we fail and we don't grow because we don't have the help that we need.
That's true. That is true.
So, Women's Television is happy to have you. And we're at drglorianixonpone.com/women's television, or just go to the website. Also, poneinspirations.com. And we will continue to make the services of women available to everyone. You know, it's sort of like we're parenting, we're creating an environment where every person can learn, can grow, and can develop. It's sort of like we're mommying.
Yes.
How do you say mommying? Mothering them. Yes, yes. And so we will mother them in various aspects, and you will help them to grow their business and create multiple streams of income.
Yes, absolutely.
Because in a society or in a condition where we are today, where people are more likely to take on debt, more debt.
True.
And I actually tell my students that there's no such thing as a credit card. It's just a debt card with the name credit printed on it, because the banks are playing with your psyche.
Yes.
So I think that if people could engage more seriously in multiple income streaming, then they could borrow from themselves and pay the interest rate that they desire to be.
That is true.
And when I'm borrowing, I always like to go for the zero interest rate.
I think we all do.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited about what you're doing, and I'm excited about your commitment. And we love you, and we thank you.
And it was my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And I look forward to serving, bringing my service to some of your viewers.
Yes, and we look forward to having you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.